ICP is finally moving, but is this a fake out or the real deal? Today, we are going to be discussing the Mission 70 supply shock, key 200-day moving averages and other levels to watch, and our definitive 2026 updated price targets with new information as of the first month of 2026 being gone. So, let's take a look at the charts quick and dive right in. Right now, guys, the chart looks like a battleground. ICP is trading around $3.30. Make it 325. Showing a short-term recovery, but we are facing heavy overhead pressure following the mid-January spike, right? The mid-January spike took us right up to the 200-day moving average, which is this orange line. Boom, completely rejected, falling all the way from 479, 480 down to where we're at right now, like in the $3.20. If we take a look at the RSI, it's right around 47 to 49, kind of in the neutral range. Not oversold, not overbought. That suggests, though, the market is waiting for a catalyst before it chooses the next direction. So our immediate support, right? If we just go back before the huge move on January 13th, our immediate support is $3.10. If that breaks, we're looking back down here to the $2.70 level. Our primary resistance is definitely this top peak on January 14th, which was $4.80. It's kind of been our latest January ceiling, we'll call it. If we take a look at the greed and fear index, we're sitting somewhere between a 25 and a 35, which denotes fear. However, if you look at ICP's history, when we've seen the macro uncertainty, ICP has usually seen its strongest accumulation phases. So let's take a quick look at short term, what we think our price targets could be. Right now, I am zoomed in. This big peak right here is November 7th, 2025, but we're going to focus right on the most recent action to get an idea of short term where we see this thing heading. So I'm going to take and do a Fibonacci line retracement. We're going to go from 267, which was the wick of the candle on December 31st. That's this low. And we're going to go up to the peak of 480, which was the January 15th high. So we're going to draw these levels. Just take a quick look. We're going to look at the downside to see where we could go. So like I said, right here, a 786 retracement is that $3.14 level. If we can hold that, that would suggest we put in a lower low or a higher low, and maybe we could see some upside trajectory. However, if we break the 315, we could be looking at a retest of the 268, and if that breaks, all the way back down to $2.10, which ironically almost matches up exactly with this huge wick, this huge red wick from Friday, October 10th. Okay, so these Fibonacci levels sometimes, guys, they don't lie. And the reason why, it's not because there's something magic. It's, well, Fibonacci is kind of magic, but the algorithms, the bots, the AI trading bots and the algos use these levels. That is why we sometimes see them match up so perfectly. So if we can find levels and look at what lows the algorithms are looking at and what highs and see where these match up perfectly, we have a good short-term Fibonacci trading range that we can use to our advantage. So guys, go back. These are the levels right here, $3.15. The next is 260 and $2 and we'll call it 10 cents to the downside. If you want a quick couple upside targets, let's say that this is going to hold around the 315 level. I'll give you a quick upside target and then we'll move on to the news. So upside target. For an upside target, we're going to go high to low. So I'm going to go high right here, and we're going to draw it down to that 315 level because that's where we're going to guess is going to hold right here. So if we hold that, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Here is what we're looking at. We're assuming we're going to hold 315. Our targets, the 50% retracement, that's probably pretty important, is $4. After that $4, we're looking at the 480, and if we can break out of 480, we are looking at 525 and almost $6. Okay, so take a screenshot of this, study it, pause the video. These are our short short-term levels and targets to watch. However, guys, like I said earlier, with the RSI where it's at right now, we're going to need a catalyst. And the only way to find catalysts is to read the news. So let's jump into the news and see what we got going on. So our first story is Mission 70 and the Great Tokenomics Reset, right? The Definity Foundation just released the Mission 70 Whitepaper, which is a radical proposal to slash ICP's annual inflation by at least 70% by the end of 2026. Guys, this is not just a minor tweak. It is a pivot to scarcity meta. By reducing voting rewards, shortening neuron dissolve delays, and cutting node provider payouts by up to 49%, the network aims to drop gross minting from nearly 10% down to under 3%. This would address the inflationary overhang that has suppressed ICP's price for years. So guys, Mission 70, this is huge. Whenever a blockchain starts to mess with their tokenomics, you need to pay attention. And in this case, this could be a good thing because they are reducing inflation. That means the tokens become more valuable because it could create, a supply shock. So let's keep an eye on Mission 70. We'll see if that actually comes to fruition and how it does affect the price of ICP and the tokenomics, and see if it works how they think it's going to work. News story number 2, Caffeine.ai. This would be the dawn of self-writing internet. So the Caffeine.ai platform is now officially live, and this marks a massive leap for on-chain artificial intelligence. Unlike other AI tokens that just use blockchains for payments, Caffeine runs large language models, or LLMs, directly as smart contracts, or canisters, on ICP. This allows non-technical users to build and update apps using natural language through a chat interface, completely bypassing centralized clouds like Amazon Web Services. This creates a massive demand loop. As more AI apps are built, more ICP is burned to power the computation. So guys, this is another major development. Like I said, we are running through the news stories at a high level that I think could have an impact. Each of these could have their own deep dives, but we're giving you the headlines and a little bit about the story so we can get some context around what ICP has done in the last month and how positive it is for the platform. With that being said, story number 3. We've seen institutional expansion via Tether and Parfin. Tether has strategically invested in Parfin, which is a leading infrastructure provider for institutional custody and tokenization in Latin America. Parfin uses its railless infrastructure, which is a permissioned EVM compatible chain, to bridge traditional finance with public ledgers. And because ICP's chain fusion tech allows it to act as the orchestration layer for these institutional flows, this partnership positions ICP at the center of a $1.5 trillion regional digital asset market, focusing on real-world asset tokenization and cross-border settlements. Whew. Okay, in a nutshell, what does that mean? That means ICP is positioning itself right in the center of a $1.5 trillion real-world asset tokenization market in Latin America through partnerships with Tether and Parfin. Big time. Okay, this is news we like to see if we are investors and we want to see ICP moving forward. And our fourth story, guys, that I thought was very important for January and for pushing the price of ICP and the underlying fundamentals higher is chain fusion, right? It got native Dogecoin and Ordinals. So the Ethereum and Meridian milestones are now fully realized, giving ICP native bridgeless integration with Dogecoin and Bitcoin Ordinals. Through threshold ECDSA cryptography, ICP canisters can now sign transactions on these networks directly. This makes ICP the primary DeFi layer for Bitcoin native assets, allowing users to lend, borrow, or trade Ordinals with the speed of a high-performance web cloud while maintaining the security of the original chains. Guys, that is a mouthful. Okay, that is a giant mouthful. But essentially, we have native integration now. We have native integration for DeFi projects that use Bitcoin native assets. And we've seen a lot in the news about Bitcoin lending, right? Getting yield on your Bitcoin. This is what it's talking about. This is the underlying nuts and bolts of making all of that stuff possible. And when you see ICP at the center of that, that is also a major positive news story for the chain. So now that we've seen that we've got 4 extremely positive news stories and things that can adjust the tokenomics, the demand, right? Integration with AI, all positive things. How does this affect the price? So let's take these into account and take another look at our 12-month price outlook. Okay, we're still going to talk our bear case, base case, and bull case. So our bear case is $1.80 to $2.50. So this would mean the broader market liquidity remains tight and the Mission 70 implementation may face delays. If this happens, expect a retest of the ultimate floors for this token. Okay, we need Mission 70 to happen, and we need crypto as a whole to rebound. We can't be waiting on the Clarity Act. We can't be having all this fear in the market. But if it stays that way, expect a retest of those lows. But my base case, guys, is $4.80 to $7.50. This would assume steady adoption of the chain fusion tech and a successful reduction in inflation. Reaching the $6.20 average target is the most realistic outcome for a recovering market. So that means Mission 70 stays on schedule, right? And a steady adoption of chain fusion would get us into that range. And my bull case, guys, and again, guys, this is not financial advice, okay? This is for entertainment and education. Please do your own research. But my bull case, $15 to $33. This would be a breakout scenario triggered by a supply-demand squeeze. If the new tokenomics burn exceeds issuance, okay, so burn rate exceeds issuance, which means we become deflationary, and combined with a rotation into decentralized AI assets, we could see the $15 to $33 range. So guys, in conclusion here, ICP is no longer just a fast computer. We talked about it about 6 weeks ago. And now with these 4 new news stories, we can see it is becoming a deflationary AI powerhouse. However, the resistance levels we talked about on the chart, that is the line in the sand, right? If we break it, the base case could be a go. So what is your personal price target for ICP by December 26? You have one? Put your number down in the comments and I will reply to every single one of them. And don't forget, guys, make sure you like and subscribe for the next deep dive. And we will see you in the next one.